We can speak now to Lord Kim Darroch, former UK ambassador to the US. A very good morning to you. Thanks so much for joining us today. So Donald Trump's fourth arrest, but his first mugshot, and the first former president to have that done. What do you make of it? Is this a humiliation for him?
I think it is, in reality, a humiliation for him, though it's not the way, of course, that he is playing it. He's using it to stir up his supporters and to repeat his claims that there is a giant conspiracy against him to deny him the chance to run in the 2024 election. And look, what the opinion polls tell us is that amongst Republican voters, this is proving hugely effective. He is some 30 points ahead of all of his, all of the other competitors for the Republican nominations. So far, it is working. But as you said at the beginning, this is completely unprecedented. And don't let's forget, this indictment, the fourth case against him, and if you count up the separate indictments here, it's almost 100. I mean, there's more than 90 separate indictments here. So it's almost an understatement to say this is unprecedented. It's extraordinary.
Well, yes, and how potentially perilous is this latest case for him, do you think?
Well, look, what the Trump lawyers will do is with all four of these cases, on all of which the prosecutors are pressing for trials in the first 6 months of 2024, the Trump playbook will be to delay, to try and push them all back until after November 2024, when the US election takes place. But look at this particular case in Georgia. There is a telephone recording of Trump personally pressuring the head of the Georgia election authorities to, quote, find him another 11,000 votes, which looks to us, us observers, pretty much bang to rights. But, let's see what kind of defense, apart from delay, his legal team assemble.
Well, yes, and some say this is a case that's got maximum peril for Trump, not least because a president can't pardon someone convicted of a state crime. So that removes the possibility of him pardoning himself were he to end up winning the presidential election.
You're absolutely right, state level. It's the second. I mean, he has two federal level cases against him and two state level. The other one, I think, is in New York. It's the Stormy Daniels case. And those, it's actually questionable whether any president really has the right to pardon himself. That wasn't what the those who wrote this into the US Constitution had in mind when they wrote it. But Trump clearly believes he could pardon himself. But these two cases, this one and the Stormy Daniels case, are outside that remit. So arguably are maximum peril for him. And on this one, as I've said, it's quite difficult to assemble a convincing defense for what he and his team were clearly doing. They were trying to intimidate the Georgian election authorities into somehow changing the vote count.
Meanwhile, I wonder if I can get your views on the apparent death of Yevgeny Prigozhin, the head of the mercenary group, the Wagner group. The MOD has said this morning that they believe that it's highly likely that he did indeed die in that crash. Do you agree with that? And what are the implications if that's the case?
Well, look, events in Russia at the moment are deeply mysterious. So, yes, I think it's very likely he died. Am I absolutely certain of it? You can't be absolutely certain. I'm not sure if we'll ever be absolutely certain until it's clear, months on, that this guy has disappeared from the scene. In terms of implications, look, it demonstrates yet again that what Russia has become, which is a gangster state, with Putin as the kind of godfather. I think, the whole Prigozhin Wagner group mutiny, the almost attempted coup, weakened Putin. It made him look vulnerable. Perhaps the people in the Kremlin around him will think this recaptures some of the ground they've lost. I think it still leaves him looking weaker than he did. And it also demonstrates that there are some profound tensions within the Russian system, that it's not like a monolithic bloc where everyone supports what's going on in Ukraine and how the war is being conducted. It's a lot more complicated than that, a lot more complicated, I expect, than we in the West can really understand.
Well, Lord Kim Darroch, we appreciate your time this morning and reacting to several big stories. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.